Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
A lot of people always ask this question, can you find your soulmate? Are you with your soulmate? Is that even possible? We're going to dig a little deep into that today. And we have somebody who's a psychic medium. She's a doctor of metaphysical activity. She's also a master healer. And Judie Burroughs joins us again. How are you, Judie?
Fantastic. Thank you very much for asking, Steve. How are you?
I'm really good today. And I'm intrigued by what we're going to talk about, because maybe a lot of us think that we're with our soulmate. We're wondering, does a soulmate exist? Are there multiple soulmates out there? And do I have it right when I think about a soulmate? It's somebody that you're destined to be with for whatever reason?
Somewhat. So a soulmate, it can encompass many different relationships. A soulmate can encompass friendships. It can encompass, just people in passing, and it can encompass like intimate relationships as well. A soulmate is somebody who you have a deeper connection with than just a normal relationship or friendship.
That being said, how long does it take to cultivate a soulmate relationship? Is there a number? Does it take time, or could you meet somebody, a month ago and got a soulmate right there? You might not realize it at that moment.
Right. You could actually have a soulmate that you haven't even met yet. So have you ever ran into someone that you automatically felt comfortable with? Like you almost like a deja vu, maybe you knew them in a past life kind of thing.
Yes. They
consider that a soulmate. Somebody who you have an ultimate, deep connection with. And it, like I said, it encompasses so many different types of relationships.
Interesting. This is, we just open up a whole new world here. Like you open up the window, because my perception, I think for many, is the soulmate is the one you're going to spend your life with. You found that person, you see eye to eye on everything. You have that connection, the intimate connection. It's all there. That's your soulmate. But what I'm learning from you, not necessarily true. It could just be a really good friendship, and you found a soulmate in that person. Like I have a friend, I call her my soul sister, because she's kind of breezy and airy.
Okay.
But she's always there for me. I'm always there for her. And we know, we call ourselves warriors in terms of spreading positivity and doing the right thing. And, people actually think like we're together sometimes as a couple when we walk in a room. But no.
Probably because the energy is so the same.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that, I think you might have nailed that. It's just, but and whenever I go somewhere, let's say an event or something, she likes going to those types of things. I'm like, yeah, I want you, be my plus one. Come on,
Right.
But I watch her, and she's not the most engaging person, but she's got something going on where I just take a step back and she connects with people. She could say 5 words. And
so it's intriguing.
It's intriguing for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting now. And that you've put a whole new spin on the 2-word soulmate for sure.
Right. So there's soulmate, there's soul ties, and then there's twin flames. Now, twin flames encompasses a whole separate thing. A twin flame, I don't know, you've heard that before, right?
Nope.
No? Okay, so a twin flame is somebody who is the other half of you. It's like you were 2 souls that split and divided at one point, and you come back in when you're in the physical form and you run into each other, and it's like you've actually found your other half. Like that is the other half of you.
And does that necessarily mean that is the person for you from now until forever? Is it that type of connection, or it's just 2 friends together, and when they're together, they're whole?
That's a good question, and I don't have an answer for that. I know people meet their twin flames, and you only have one. What you choose to do with it when you meet them, I mean, it can go in so many different directions. But you know, when you meet that person, it's like, bam, like, holy hell, I already know you. You don't even have to speak to me. I already know you. Like your energy, it's almost like your energy speaks to each other. Like you see, it's like a magnet. Like you meet this person, it's like, boom, oh my gosh.
Are you saying that there's only one on the planet? So a needle in a haystack.
Right.
So if you find that person and you feel that overwhelming, it's the yin and the yang, we're together, that's it. You
right.
should seize the opportunity is what you're saying.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course you have soul ties. Now, I'll explain to you that I don't normally, I'm not really well versed at these things. I do know the difference between them. And soul tie is just basically like when you meet this person that you can't seem to disconnect with, like you're like this. It could be, your energy is intertwined. Most of the time it's very sexual. But it's just like when you try to leave, it's like, I can't seem to unattach from this person. And 9 out of 10 times when that happens, then you end up having to come to somebody like me, that you do like a cut the tie kind of thing, like the urethral, snip.
So are you saying that type of connection is more of a physical?
Yes.
Interesting. Wow.
Yep.
It's almost like an addiction.
Exactly. Yes, it's very true.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So it really, you're obsessed with them from a physical standpoint.
Right. And it's just like almost like a magnet again, except more physical than anything.
Yeah.
And somebody you just can't seem to break with. You just can't seem to break away.
Even though you know it's bad for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. If you only knew.
No,
I get that a lot.
No, I know.
Yep. But I think we've all had that before.
Well, that's why I'm saying, yeah, I know what you're talking about for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. And sometimes it's hard to break free from that. And then you put the phone down and then, 2 days later, it's just going to send a text. And even though it could have been ended, I'm just going to make a quick phone call, see if somebody picks up, that kind of thing.
Right. And that's also the kind of person that you're always going, okay, just one more time. And then I'm not talking to you anymore. And that one more time happens over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's you like to think it's not just a physical thing or all physical. You'd like to think there's more to it, but there's probably not. Am I right? Interesting. So that's what you do. You help break those ties.
Oh yeah. We have baths for that. We have, a break the tie, like a little ceremony. We do some people call it spell work or candle work or whatever, but yeah, we use candles and stuff and different herbs and things to break up that soul tie.
That type of tie is probably holding you back from a better life.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes, because I feel like my husband now, he's my soulmate, he's my soul tie, and he's my twin flame. That's how I feel. I could be wrong.
Well, but lucky for you that you found all 3 in one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I will say this, I had a soul tie. And I know I'm bad. It was bad. And when I broke the tie recently, my life has gotten better. More things are going on because I knew it wasn't the right thing. But what you describe is kind of like that. I'm being personal. Okay, people, I got nothing to hide over here. It's just.
Well, the thing is, Steve, is that person carried a lot of negativity inside of them. And so I feel like that it kind of was starting to rub off on you.
Yeah, in some regards, and it wasn't intentional on their part, just a lot of baggage, and And I'm not going to go into detail here, people, but
Right.
this is how good Judie is, because Judie said the first letter of this person's name about 3 podcasts ago. So I'm going to let that go right there. So it's interesting that we're talking about this and learning. You always hear the soulmate thing, but you don't really know what a soulmate is. But now, that's an eye opener, that it could be just somebody that is in your life that enhances your life, but doesn't necessarily have to be your life partner.
Right. Exactly.
What about somebody who is, let's say, looking for a soulmate? Can you look into their life, their future, based on your psychic ability and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, there you can pull cards on that and stuff. You can use the pendulum, but when somebody's looking for a timeline, I mean, you could get that sometimes. It depends on if spirit wants you to know, or if it's really up to spirit, whatever they want to give you. Sometimes they don't give you anything. Sometimes they don't want you to know.
Tell me.
And a lot of times people are so focused on that.
Yeah.
It's like when you're not in a relationship and you're not actively looking for that soulmate or whatever it is, you're supposed to be loving yourself, learning to love yourself more, and preparing yourself for that person.
Yep. It's almost like it's almost like cleaning your house and waiting for company to show up.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yep.
Can we talk about the pendulum? We hit that up before. I've heard about a pendulum. I think you may have just shown it once or twice before.
Here, I'll do one better.
Oh, okay. And how does that
very,
actually work?
very accurate.
Really?
They are. Literally, when I tell you my pendulum is everything for me. Any yes or no questions, and I use it all the time when people think that they have some type of spiritual work or root work done on them. And I created this board personally for myself, for my clients, because you can personalize them. And I just according to what my clients usually want to know.
So tell me how that works. How does the energy make it swing either one way or the other?
That is a really good question. And I don't have an answer for it.
It just works.
It just works. It does. And so I will tell you, so the other day, so somebody asked me, I can't remember. They were asking me about a girl. This was a celebrity client, and he calls and he's like, hey, I got these 3 women and I need you to swing the pendulum and see which one is meant for me, or which one has good intentions for me.
Tough problem to have. Tough problem to have, people. Okay?
Right.
I got 4. All right, 4.
So, well, I go ahead and I'm swinging the pendulum on the first one, the second one, and the third one, it literally was like, boom, and then it boom. And I thought it was going to stay on the no, and then it hit back to the yes again. And I'm like, whoa, it paused. It was really weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, really weird.
Now, how specific do your questions need to be when you use the pendulum?
Well, if spirit doesn't seem like they get enough information, they'll hit ask again. Because I have that on here. It'll say ask again, which means, ask it in a different form or fashion, or give me some, extra information on the question.
All right. Can I ask it a question?
Well, sure.
I have somebody in mind that I'm sort of seeing. Good vibe. There's one thing that's a little bit of a challenge for me. Not a big thing. It's actually a good thing, but a little bit of a challenge. Do you foresee this as, oh, great pendulum. Do you foresee this as something that I should pursue?
All right. I'm gonna show you, let you watch it. All right. Let's see what we get. Oh.
I can't see what it says from here, but I'm afraid to ask.
It's stuck on no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. You know, that's kind of what my gut says, but and it's not a bad thing. It's all good, but it's there's a couple little pieces there that, for future might not be the best
Right, right,
situation.
right.
Yeah. Hmm. Thank you, Pendulum, for confirming that. I mean, it's all good. All right. Wow.
I always feel so bad,
No, it's okay.
if it doesn't turn out the way the person, either thought it would or wants it to, but I mean, I can't change it. So
No, it's totally fine. I find it interesting the way it swings, and then when it stops at one, it's like right here, right here.
right, right. I know. I'm intrigued with it. Literally, this is my favorite thing to do.
What is causing it to do that? Is it some magnets or what's going on in there?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, because the guy that made the board for me, it's just, I mean, yeah, this has a magnet, so I assume that there's something under here. I don't know what.
Hmm.
But it really swings very odd though. Even for a magnet, it really does.
I totally.
To me.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's it's an odd way that it stops on whatever the answer is. And how could the magnet always pull it to one? It's either going to stop on one thing or another, unless there's magnets under each answer. I'm being too scientific. I always look, a little bit deeper to try and figure stuff out, but super cool. So that's, if somebody wanted to connect with you either for the pendulum or, a psychic reading, they would just go to your website, readings by Judie, JUDIE.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you scroll down just a little bit and there's a bunch of yellow lines, and one of them is for booking a reading, and it takes you right to the site, and then it shows my schedule and availability. Myself and both of my girls, Nisha and Bonnie, they're both available as well. And Bonnie's been reading for many, many, many years. She's been my mentor for 10, and Nisha's been reading for 3 years, both very, very good. And it gives you, like, on my website, it'll give you like a little breakdown of each of the readers.
When did you realize, Judie, that you had something?
Oh, I was little, about 8, 9. I knew I was really, I've always been real weird. My mom said it explains why I'm weird.
And that you just felt psychic ability, you saw things. How did it go?
I used to hear people all the time, and I couldn't figure out where these people were, because we lived in the middle of nowhere. I grew up in Illinois in a town called Granville, and then I lived in a town called Millington, which is like 150 people. And literally we lived out in the boondocks, and I'd hear all these voices. And I used to listen to heavy metal or hard rock or whatever. I used to listen to AC/DC, and I turned on really loud so I couldn't hear all the voices, and I would still hear them. It was driving me crazy. So I always stayed to myself. I was a loner because I didn't want to have to explain. I didn't know if anybody else could hear anybody talking. But I didn't want to have to explain if they couldn't hear all these people, how come I was hearing them? When you're that age, it's like, how do you explain that?
That's got to be so tough for children that have the gift or the ability and not really sure that they know that they do. And people just think they're weird. Like, what's your problem?
Yep.
Yep. Wow. So it was around when you were 8 years old, somewhere around there?
Yeah, about 8. Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
I mean, I always, even before then, I was real different, but about 8 years old is when I really knew that I was like off the wall different. And 12 years old is when I really started understanding what was going on.
And when you say you have psychic ability or as a psychic medium, and we skimmed this once before, but can you connect with those on the other side?
Yes. Not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell people, if you book a mediumship reading with me and the spirit that you're looking for, the person that you're looking for to come through doesn't come through, I'll automatically refund the money, because, there's no guarantee. There's so many different reasons why or why not, spirit will or will not come through. So, but most of the time it's very successful.
Yeah.
I just had a really amazing connection that happened recently. I went up to, I think it's called Bainbridge, Georgia, if I remember right. I was just called up there. Some folks lost their young daughter to a horrible accident. And oh my gosh, I was able to give them a lot of information
About what happened.
about what happened, then about the child that was left behind by her, and a situation dealing with that child and the child's father, just a lot of different stuff. And when I said what I said about the child's father, they automatically knew what I was talking about. They were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe," they kind of went crazy.
So you kind of gave them closure.
Yeah, it gave them closure. It gave them the knowledge of what she wanted done, which they, like I said, they already kind of knew. And so they knew how to proceed forward from there.
Do you surprise yourself?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I surprise myself. And the other thing is that I've done thousands of readings, and I literally, before every reading, I wonder if I'm going to be right.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say you lack confidence at all, but you could have somebody, you could have a performer, a singer, could have millions of records sold. They probably do the same thing when they go out on stage.
And do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because what happens if I go out there and I don't nail it like all the other times before? It's going to be that one time that people are going to be saying, right. Well, hey, wait a minute, he wasn't that good today.
Yep. And people wait to pounce on that stuff.
That one
time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, you're no good. And then of course all the other thousands of times you were right or you performed well,
yep.
It just overshadows it. But I've been very, very blessed as far as I 5 stars across the board with all my readings.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have great reviews too. Judie, do you think you have like spirit guides out there floating around helping you out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People can walk into my house and know that there's something different going on here. People walk in here and they're like, oh, wow, I feel so at peace. And it's because I have like my grandmother's spirit here, and my husband's ex-girlfriend who passed away, her spirit lives here. And we keep it very comfortable. They have a home here on my altar, and you could just feel it. And like my assistant, sometimes she'll come and she'll stay the night because we'll have an early morning cleansing or something the next day, and she'll go, well, I saw somebody just pass that way, but there was nobody there, or I heard this, or I saw that, and then of course my mom's story about when she was here for a few weeks and she walked out of the bedroom to go to the restroom and the fireplace came full fire, a wood burning fireplace.
Wow. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I was just going to say the word fireplace. And you said it. And where I'm moving, I didn't know it had a fireplace. I looked at a comparable place, but the one that I'm going to wasn't available. And I walk in and there's a fireplace and I see your fireplace back there. And I swear, half a second before you said fireplace, I'm thinking fireplace. And I was going to ask you, what's the significance of a fireplace? Is it a good thing to have? Is it, weird? That was weird.
You know what? Something weird always happens when we're doing this.
I know.
Every week. I swear it's always something.
You can't make that up. And I'm actually looking behind you and I see that fireplace and I'm thinking to myself, that kind of looks like the one I have now. Interesting.
Wow.
Weird stuff goes on here. Wow.
Right. Well, so I'll give you a tip. I know since you live up north, oops. Oh, good gracious.
I'm back, Spirit.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, for anybody listening, we just lost her video for 5 seconds, but she's back now.
Yeah, I'm putting on airplane mode because people just love to call me in the middle of all this. So when it gets cold, if you use your fireplace, is it wood burning?
I don't think it is, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not 100% sure because I walked in, I had 15 minutes and I walked out.
Gotcha. If it is a wood burning fireplace, get you some ground up Palo Santo and toss it on top of the wood, and the smell will just,
Ooh.
Of course, it's amazing. And you know what? I'm glad I said that. Well, I just made a whole mess. Remember how I was telling you about Palo?
Yep.
So I don't know if you can see the wet.
Yes.
That is the oil. See the dark right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you have real Palo.
Okay.
That's the oil, and it burns wet.
We have just a second left, but I'm glad you brought that up because a friend of mine gave me some the other day and I burned it last night and it smells okay, but it looks very dry. I'm not seeing, oils or things like that. It looks very dry.
Might just be some wood.
A
lot of people don't know. They don't.
Well, and it sort of smells like it. I let my daughter smell it, and I have Palo Santo spray, and she's like, "This is great." It's almost like a perfume or a cologne. But when I burned the wood, it was like, it's all right. So it could be better. Yeah, I don't think I have legit Palo Santo. No. It looks nothing like yours. Yours looks like almost like a cedar. Like a legit fresh cut wood. Mine is just all dried up and
no good.
No good. All right. I gotta get some. Do you have it on your website?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotta go there. I really do. Love that stuff.
I text you. Check your text messages.
Oh, you text me?
Yeah. Last week.
I did not get that unless it came as a spam and I didn't see you, but I'll text you. But somebody wants to reach you. How do they do that?
Readings by Judie, JUDIE.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok and Snapchat. You
are amazing. I always love talking with you, and anything can happen whenever we're getting together. It's kind of freaky weird. Yeah. All right, Judie, I'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
All right, Steve. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.